Coming to you live from the JRE Tobacco Aladino Mobile Studios, it's the Cigar Pulpit.
Hello, everybody, and welcome to another sermon from the Cigar Pulpit. I'm the Bishop of the Burn, Nick, and boy, this was a rough episode to get through. Not because it was a hard topic or anything like that. So in just a moment, I'm going to be cutting to an interview that I did with Mike Brinker. We were just kind of catching up. It's been a minute. And, he's a football guy, so I figured, it's maybe, a little late coming at you with our some Super Bowl talk, considering that was this past Sunday. But I figured, whatever, why not? We'll just people talking. And we recorded, well, that's the problem. We talked for nearly an hour before I looked down and realized that the board had stopped recording because the SD card was full. And I hadn't hit record on Zoom. And so it's the lost episode, lost to time. So we came back and, we did it again. But it's probably for the best because our football and commercial conversation got shortened up pretty considerably, tightened up. And then we talked about PCA and various other stuff that we got going on. So anyway, why don't I go ahead and cut to that? But I did not do this because I had already, by the time we got back going into it, we were already about 2/3. We smoked at least a solid third of our cigars. So I'm going to go ahead and play the greatest commercial you've ever heard real quick.
Some say cigars are all the same. It's just not true. It's you I have to blame.
Well, I don't know, 'cause what I know, there is a cigar called Aladino.
Everybody together.
Corojo.
Aladino Corojo. Aladino Corojo.
They say authentic, so we're not confused, while the others say it's a word that's just abused.
I guess that's so. They can't compete. At least I'm sure Aladino
Can't be beat.
Corojo.
Aladino Corojo. Aladino Corojo.
Aladino Cigars uses authentic Corojo tobacco from JRE Tobacco. This is the greatest commercial you ever heard.
Yeah. Anyway, why don't we now go ahead and cut to our chat with Mike Brinker. Okay, everybody. So let's try this again. So I'm now joined by Mike Brinker. How you doing, Mike?
I'm good. How are you?
I could be better. So for those of you in listener land, you missed a hell of a good episode that Mike and I just put together and, lost because, my board, the SD card and my board ran out of space. And I'm thinking, well, at least I have the backup audio from Zoom. But my dumbass forgot to hit record on Zoom. So he and I have just been doing an episode for ourselves for the last, I don't know, hour? Yep. So... oh fuck. Well, today, I'm firing mine back up because I had to go inside and clear some space on the SD card and all that. But
before we get too far, I would also like to say I'm by Miss Sky here. Say hello, Sky.
Hi, Poppy. Hi, Poppy.
She's my little smoking buddy.
Oh.
So whenever I'm sitting out here, she thinks she's got to be on my lap.
I mean, it's nice to have a lady on your lap when you're smoking, even if it's the dog.
She doesn't like the table here, so if all of a sudden my world turns sideways,
she's bumped the table
down and knocked the table.
Okay, so for those of you who are interested, we are smoking the West Tampa Tobacco Red Toro 6x52. This was the 2023 Parishioner Cigar of the Year. featuring a Mexican San Andreas Maduro wrapper, Nicaraguan Condega binder, and fillers consisting of Nicaraguan Condega Viso, Esteli Viso, and Esteli Ligero. The cut was brought to you by twoguyscigars.com. That's the number 2, guyscigars.com. And Two Guys have been around for 40 years. They're the trusted name in the cigar industry. And everybody knows Two Guys. But if you don't, please give them a try. You won't be sorry. Family owned and operated, twoguyscigars.com does the very best to provide a great selection, fair prices, and excellent customer service. Mike, you got your West Tampa Tobacco Red that you're smoking there from Two Guys
Two
Cigars.
Guys. Yes, I did.
Yep.
Along with some really nice other sticks. Went
Right.
with a nice little assortment there.
Perfect. So please go to twoguyscigars.com for your next cigar purchase. Tell them that the Cigar Pulpit sent you. And remember, that's the number 2, guyscigars.com. I'm not going to cut my cigar now because I've already cut my cigar. And, in terms of the greatest commercial that you've ever heard, I'm going to skip that for right now. I'll get to it at some point. Yeah, so no, Mike and I were talking about the Super Bowl because, he's a big football guy. And even though, despite the fact that, it's nearly a week after it happened, we had a nice conversation going there. And, talking all about the Super Bowl and the various commercials. And I just, God damn it, I feel like all the wind has been taken out of my balloon right now. Or all the air has been deflated from my balloon.
Maybe one day the technology will exist to retrieve that information out of the air.
Yeah, I don't know what that is. Like,
I don't know. We're doing this on Zoom. I'm sure someone has got a copy of that somewhere.
That's true. We are making the assumption that when we hit the record button, that's what makes it record. In reality, it might have been recording this whole time. But yeah, I don't know. That sucks. I hate when that I haven't had this happen in quite a long time. And typically I notice it fairly early in an episode. And I didn't notice it this time for 2 reasons. One, my board, I just didn't look down at the board. I didn't look down at the counter. That's on me. But Zoom has changed something. Back in the day, when you would record on Zoom, there was a little red record logo thingy up in like a corner.
Yeah.
And when they did their update and put the shit at the bottom, when you touch the screen to see the little controls at the bottom, that record is in the top left. But when you don't, and the things like disappear, and whatnot, go away, that record goes away. So, as I'm looking at it right now, it looked just like it did for the last hour when you and I were talking. So, anyway, so I guess we got to do some of this again because otherwise it's going to be a 5-minute episode. In terms of the Super Bowl, man, I said on the show that I wanted Bills and Commanders, and I'm kind of over the Chiefs dynasty a little bit. I had no real interest going into this game, and then the game itself I thought was relatively uninteresting. So
yeah. Well, and like I previously said,
I know you and I are going to be having a big case of deja vu here.
I had no problem with the KC Philly matchup because I thought they were the 2 best teams in the league.
Yeah.
And I was hoping for Philly to play like they did because I really like their team. I like how they built their team through the draft and free agency and, paying their guys that became good players. Roseman, their GM, is a really good GM. And I was really rooting for them to just show off, and they did, which made for boring football if you're not into one of those.
See, that's the thing.
games.
I'm not into a one-sided game. I really enjoy having a close, competitive game because otherwise it's like, dude, like going into halftime, I knew Philadelphia was going to win at half. There were people at the party that are like, oh, Kansas City's a second half team. They're going to rally and they're going to come back. I'm thinking, boy,
Not that
this
much.
is gonna be a big damn rally if they come back like that. It's like,
Yeah.
no, it didn't happen. Didn't happen. As much as I dislike him, I think Tom Brady is probably the only quarterback I would have trusted with maybe even close to someone at that rally. And because I mean, how down were the Patriots in that year against Atlanta?
I
Because I mean, that was a big damn
it
rally.
was
That
a
was
yeah, it was a big rally. I think New England's would have still have been a bigger rally.
okay. But
Had
nonetheless, my point is, though, I mean, like, it would have taken a miracle like to that level
right.
for
I mean,
Kansas City to come back, and
the
that just
amount of shit that had to
wasn't
go
happening.
wrong in that game was just crazy.
And Philadelphia just they didn't fall apart like the Falcons did. I
No.
mean, they were carving up the offensive line, the Kansas City offensive line, too much to allow something like that to happen. So I don't know. Well, yeah, I mean, so the game was the game. Um, do we want to talk? Let's do this. It's time for the Villiger Cigars Entertainment Report, brought to you by
Villiger.
Villiger Cigars, one of the leading cigar and cigarillo manufacturers in the world, founded in 1888 and still family owned and operated. Head over to VilligerCigars.com and check the store locator to find a shop near you that carries them. We guarantee that Villiger Cigars will be a wonderful addition to your humidor and cigar rotation. Let's talk halftime show.
Okay.
I am I am not familiar with Kendrick Lamar. I after listening to that little medley at the Super Bowl, I think I recognized one, possibly two songs at most. The one that I recognized more than any was the one from the Black Panther movie, and you know, realistically, I was told, and I've read a lot of things online about the different messaging and symbolism. I was told about the Drake beef after this whole thing. I didn't know any of that. Like
Me neither.
I was obviously not the audience for that show. I'm not necessarily saying it was bad. Like I don't want to say like, oh, it was bad. But it wasn't for me. And
It was not geared to say, "Hey Mike, this show's for you. Enjoy."
no, and the thing about it, why in the world I've got some sort of a kink in a line or something that's like making fuck me. This is just proven to be one of those episodes. But to that point, I don't think it was a good introduction of Kendrick Lamar to new audiences either. You
No.
know, and I mean, I don't know. And the fact that if you say anything like this, now you have people online saying that you're racist, and it's like, well, I'm not racist. I don't get it. Like it's not my thing. You guys are saying this was so brilliant, and it's like it looked like any other halftime show. It's people dancing around and doing stuff. I mean, like I don't know. I'm not getting the brilliance of it, but that's not to say that it wasn't good for what it was. It just wasn't.
Right.
It's not for me. And that's the other people are. I don't think it's just. I don't know. I've come to realize this more and more as I've gotten older. Is that not everything is meant for me. I've got a kink in the line or something like that, and it's making this like noise at times. And anyway, all right, it seems to have stopped.
Yeah.
But not everything is meant for me. You know, like a show. Maybe a show comes out and it's good, or maybe it's a show that comes out and everybody else thinks it's good and I don't. That's okay. It's not meant for me. I don't have to shit on it. It's not meant for me.
Well, that's
And
like, every once in a while I'll be watching a TV show or a rerun of something, and based off the commercials, I'll sit there and say to myself, boy, they're not expecting a 48-year-old white male to be watching this.
yes,
Either it's all AARP stuff, or it's, you can just tell who they think the advertisers think are watching this episode.
Mm-hmm.
And the NFL clearly said, we know Mike's going to watch this regardless. So let's go after someone else that this is going to appeal to.
Yeah, let's find another demographic that we can appeal to with this show. And then what's funny is then you start seeing all these people that are using the statistic about, oh, the viewership of the game dropped dramatically after the end of the halftime show. And they act like this is, and I've seen this used by some people who didn't like the Kendrick Lamar halftime show as proof as to, oh, they turned off people with the Kendrick Lamar halftime show. Dude, there were people that were probably tuning in only for that halftime show.
Right.
There were probably also people that were tuning into the game and watched the halftime show and said, this game is fucking boring. Let's turn on something else, because like
Right.
you and I just said, the odds of Kansas City coming back and winning that game were very low. So, they
And that's something they run into all the time. A lot of people don't realize that, but they do.
Yeah. So, like, I don't think that's anything that can be used as any sort of evidence as to the Kendrick Lamar halftime show not
And
being
it's
good.
also why, as I've watched it for so long, the commercial quality usually drops off after halftime significantly. And that's when you start seeing local ads is during the second half and fourth quarter, because
that's a really
they
good
know
point.
that if it's a bad game, they're going to lose viewership. When they say it's 8 million it's not all commercial. The first half are the most expensive.
Yeah.
Third quarter's pretty good.
Very
And then by the
beginning of
fourth,
the game. Yeah.
yeah, the fourth quarter, you start getting a better deal because there's odds are that no one's watching it.
Interesting. No, that's true, and you're right. We did see more local ads in the second half than we did the first half, and well, you can always tell those local ads.
Oh, God.
Yeah, you can always tell the local ones. Did you have the Google ad that featured Fitz's root beer and all that?
No.
Okay. See, we didn't know if that was a local ad or not, because even though it featured Fitz's, which is a local, company, a St. Louis company, with it being a Google ad, and they were talking about how Google has helped their business and everything, we didn't know if that was like a national ad that featured a St. Louis company or if it was a local ad that Google had tailored for St. Louis.
Yeah, I did not see any Google ad like that.
Oh, okay. All right. Okay. Well, I would have thought if you'd have seen it, it would have stood out because it is a local St. Louis business and everything. But, yeah, the ads were uninspired this year. I mean, you and I went through. Man, there's so much good stuff you and I talked about already that I feel like we're abbreviating now. But you and I, we talked about a lot of the ads and how, like, essentially, nobody brought the funny for the most part.
No.
There were a few that were okay, but there's nothing that's going to stand the test of time and be like something that we're talking about, decades later, like the Budweiser frogs or anything like that. The
babies and animals.
Yep.
Babies and animals.
Babies, animals, and guys doing stupid shit.
Yeah.
That tends to be what wins, and we just didn't have that much this year.
And for the past few years, like, we had went into this. It's been going this way for a while. Mm-hmm. And actually something we didn't touch on, but I'd brought up talking to you earlier. A lot of this started as soon as Anheuser-Busch sold to InBev, and they got rid of their locally, they had their own marketing agency there in St. Louis that did all their ads and kept it all united and going and funny in the same direction. And when they got rid of that, all the AB ads started to suck.
Yeah, and they really did. I mean, like, my God, this year we had the Clydesdale kicking the keg down the road because it fell off the back of the beer wagon. It's like, really? Like, we've gone from some really great Super Bowl ads from Budweiser to this. It's like this is the
Mm-hmm.
best you could do. And you pointed out earlier that beer commercials, they don't want to see, they don't want to have a bunch of guys actually around drinking beer and getting drunk and being stupid. But then again, there was that one Bud Light ad where the two guys were sitting in the driveway and they like
Yeah, the
brought
cul-de-sac.
the party, or
Yeah.
whatever. But like even that was stupid. It's like I don't know.
It was stupid enough it didn't stand out to either one of us in the first go round of this episode.
Exactly. It's like I don't know. It was pathetic. And then, so you have unfunny, you have commercials trying to be funny that are unfunny. You have other commercials that are trying to just be sweet. And then you have the preachy ones. Like the one where Snoop Dogg and Tom Brady are telling each other, be nice to one another. You're picking on me online and everything like that. And it's like
Yeah.
you and I pointed out that it's like if you're going to do one of those ads, make sure you get a non-divisive person to do it because Snoop Dogg in 2016 is calling anybody who plays the first Donald Trump inauguration an Uncle Tom. And then in 2025, he's playing at the inauguration. So, there were people at the party I was at that were not thrilled at all to be seeing Snoop Dogg on TV, because of that. And there were also people that were like, well, this is hypocritical. And then as I pointed out the first time we did this, Tom Brady, people in New England love him because he brought him championships, but there's a lot of people in the rest of the country who really don't like the guy. And
I mean, he's the whitest white guy, and he's rich as fuck. And
Yeah.
now is he a hard worker? Sure, he built everything for himself, but
he runs on Duracell battery power, so we
Yeah.
know that.
not everyone wants to be preached to by those two people.
No, and then Pfizer,
And they probably party together all the time. It's not like these two people never would be
Yeah.
together except to make that commercial.
that's exactly it. Like you pointed out the first time we did this, we're going to keep saying that. That if they would have brought two people that were diametrically opposed to one another and are totally different, like Al Sharpton and George W. Bush, at least at that point, you could say, okay, you know what? I know these two don't get along. I know these two have had problems in the past and everything. But if they're coming together to say, hey, let's be together, that would mean something. But like two rich guys, one a musician and one an athlete, doesn't do anything for me, So if you're gonna do a preachy commercial, maybe think 2 seconds about your spokesperson.
Oh, real quick.
Yeah.
I did want to talk about it was mentioned after the game.
Yeah.
A reporter found Jalen Hurts was sitting by himself, just taking it all in and all that, smoking a beautiful cigar. They would not say what it was,
Oh,
but he
I've
was
seen the
smoking
picture.
in the locker room,
Yeah.
just taking it all in.
I've seen a picture of him with a cigar, and I've been wondering what it was. So we don't know what it was.
Mm-mm.
Damn it!
The person talking about it probably wouldn't know a backwoods from a,
Well, no, but nonetheless, I would have thought whatever cigar company, but then again, he might have
It wouldn't
provided
have-
his own.
and they might not have allowed him to,
Yeah,
because
to say.
tobacco is so stringently controlled on advertising.
True, but I know, like Oscar, he tends to get his cigars, when there's championships being done down in Texas, it seems like they always tend to find a way to get into that locker room. I don't know. Interesting. I'd be curious to know what it was that he was smoking.
Mhm.
But see, that's and there's another thing. You got pro athletes that are smoking cigars. It's not a bad thing. It's not a bad thing at all. We like it.
Yeah.
Yeah. So what have you been watching lately? Let's move this along. Let's get into some new ground territory. I don't want to rehash a bunch of old ground. You and I spent quite a while, and quite frankly, it's lost to the universe now. So that's our Super Bowl thing. It was kind of a Super Bowl for me.
I've actually been watching some newer stuff. I powered through Penguin.
Okay,
Um, there were a few things.
you powered through. Does that mean you didn't like it?
Well, I mean, I powered through it in like 2 days.
Oh, okay, okay.
Yeah.
I was like, that implies to me you didn't really care for it.
No,
I'm like,
I
wait a
powered
minute, did
through
you
it
not
in
like it?
like 2 days. But one, it's been out long enough. I don't think I can spoil anything. I'm not
Yeah,
going to go too much into it, but
at this point, guys, if you haven't seen it, maybe consider you're now entering the spoiler territory. But
right.
yeah,
But
so
a little too much of the mom,
yeah,
in my opinion. It's like, okay. And I think an appearance by the Dark Knight would have been better at the very last scene
yeah,
instead of the bat signal.
yeah. I think it's a matter of
Even just
pulling,
showing like his feet or like from the waist down,
or just him standing on a rooftop, like
or no, like
real small, just up at the rooftop, or something.
the turning over of that villain to him instead of the cops,
Yeah, yeah,
I think would have
yeah,
been cool.
yeah.
Uh, Now I do understand now why maybe the next Batman movie was put off till the 20 to 2026
Oh,
because I think they're probably going to try and get another Penguin season in prior to that.
maybe I don't know because I mean, what's his name? Oh God, Colin Farrell. He said that he would consider it, but at the time, everybody was asking. It was right about the time that show was ending, and he was saying like, "Yeah, I'd consider it," but like, he was not a fan of all the prosthetic,
I can imagine,
makeup and
Jesus.
shit he had to go through for that. Like, it was exhausting to do that makeup process.
If you didn't
So,
know that was him, you'd
oh, you
never
wouldn't know.
know.
No, no, he
Uh,
he deserves all sorts of awards for that. I mean, that was yeah.
but that was a good one I've watched. I just today, uh, I watched an obscure one that came out in 2023 called ISS, International Space Station.
Okay.
That's about, there's three Americans, three Russians on the ISS.
I remember this trailer.
Yeah, and all of a sudden nuclear war breaks out between US and Russia.
And they both get their
They
orders
both
about
get
what to do.
to take the station at no,
Yeah.
it was okay. It was kind of quick and to the point. So, they didn't drag it out for 2.5 hours.
That's good. That
Uh,
movie didn't need to be drug out for two and
right.
a half hours. Yeah.
That's on Paramount Plus if you feel like checking it out.
Okay.
Um,
I've been mostly just binging through old episodes of Top Gear. I haven't really had like the time. Well, I can't 100% say that, but like I haven't taken the time to get into a new show. And when I have time that I could sit down and watch something, um, I really just my brain is just like I don't want to process new. I just want that warm safety blanket of Jeremy and Richard and James just doing stupid shit with expensive cars. And so Amazon has got like all the old seasons. And so I've gone back. I think I'm in like 2010. Like, I mean, I'm watching episodes from 15 years ago.
right.
And it's great. I'm watching the hell out of that because it's fun and I'm okay with that. But now I know this weekend I'm going to have my son, and I think he and I have plans. We're going to go see Paddington in Peru.
Oh, I've seen previews for that.
Yeah, yeah. I have not seen any of the previous Paddington movies, although Paddington 2 is like a fucking 98% approval on Rotten Tomatoes. I mean, that movie is apparently like amazingly good. So
Really?
I've never seen Paddington 2, but I hear awesome things about it. But I remember Paddington from back when I was a kid, but obviously this is much more advanced and computer generated and whatever else. But so yeah, we're gonna go see the Paddington movie. So,
All
it'll be
right.
fun.
Real quick here. I hate to do this to you.
Okay.
I'm gonna have to step away and get my charger and cord.
Oh yeah, because you didn't count on being on for
an extra hour,
an hour and a half.
All right, I'll be right back. It won't take me a second.
Well, you know what? While you do that, I'm going to do the Blackbird segment.
All right.
So we'll just deviate for a moment, and we'll go ahead and hit the button and do this. Maybe. It's time to fly high with Blackbird Cigars. Blackbird Cigars offers you remarkable quality, using the most delicate and finest tobacco to always ensure that you're receiving unsurpassed cigars. Blackbird Cigars strives to give you undoubted repeating flavor for every cigar you smoke and impressive quality so that you can always expect greatness. Check out their website for a full list of stores carrying Blackbird Cigars and give them a test flight. Blackbird Cigars can't clip our wings. So, guys, despite never having hit the pavement until he was in his late 80s, Fauja Singh went on to not only compete in several marathons, he's a world record holder in his age bracket. He ran his first marathon at age 89 and has run 9 full marathons since. He at one point was awarded the prestigious British Empire Medal to mark his achievements. And when asked for the secret of his success, he said, quote, "Being active is like a medication. I don't want to withdraw from that medication." So be like Fauja Singh and Blackbird Cigars and don't let anybody clip your wings. You know, this is a guy running marathons, and you know, he's more than double my age, and me, I'm not running marathons. So, you know, there's that. But what are you gonna do? You know? So Mike has returned with his charging cable so that hopefully he can stick with us, because we didn't plan on going anywhere near this long, but such is life, and you know, whatever. Are you back? You back with us? What? Uh-oh. I can't hear him. Uh-oh. Oh man. We have just got all kinds of, I swear, this day, the technology has not been on our side this day. I don't know what's going on now. He is figuring it out. You know, we're making it work. But we'll see.
Can you hear me?
I can hear you. Yes.
When I put my headphones on, I hit the mute button, I think.
Oh, okay.
Sorry about that, everybody.
That's okay. We learned about 89-year-old Fauja Singh and how he went and started competing in marathons, and he did like 9 marathons. He did his first one at 89. So,
wow.
You know, I know, right? It's like me. I'm less than half that age, and I'm not competing in marathons, but anyway.
Real quick.
Yeah.
Since I don't think in either version we really touched on it.
No, I was going to say, this is your first time smoking the West Tampa Tobacco Red, correct?
Yes.
So why don't you talk about the cigar?
For me, I got the Toro. I don't know if that's what you're smoking too.
That is what I'm smoking. I did unfortunately have a cap crack when I did, and I was like wondering, I'm like, man, every time I'm drawing, I'm getting like air. What's going on? It's because I got a little cap crack. But anyway,
mine burned exceptionally well.
Yeah, even with that cap crack, my burn line has been meticulous. It's been great.
I would put it as a good medium.
Mm-hmm.
I almost tried to retrohale there, but I couldn't do it.
Now you sound like me trying to retrohale.
Yeah, really enjoyed it. Good medium. A little bit of, I want to say, a little bit of hay.
Maybe.
It's more on the cold draw. I noticed it more, as you like to
Okay.
say, the barnyard.
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
Uh, but just almost like an oaky smoke back taste to me.
I'll give
On
you
this
that.
final third. No real pepperiness for me that I've tasted. I
I
don't
mean,
know about you.
not on the smoke. You're gonna if you do a retro hill, you'll find some there, but
Yeah,
not on the actual smoking experience. No. Um, it's no, it's a good cigar. There's a lot going on with it. I enjoyed it. It's just
it's a
yeah.
rebuy. I will
Oh,
definitely
100%.
rebuy.
Yeah.
Now the other West Tampas I got are the Lancero version because I'm a Lancero
Oh,
fan, and maybe one of those times when we do we're smoking different stuff, I'll
yeah.
pull one of them out because I know we don't do a lot of Lanceros
No,
on the show.
typically not. No, typically not.
And,
I don't
and I,
find them around here too much. And then in terms of like ordering them, I tend to I Toro is like my size, man.
right.
That's just where I go. But yeah. But this could be an interesting Lancero just to get more of that wrapper and
Hmm.
kind of see how that works. So now they have their newest one. It's that Circle of Life. I have not tried that one yet.
I did
And
not get that one.
I believe if I'm right, EP Carrillo. Maybe he worked with EP Carrillo on that. Um,
Wow.
so yeah, that's one that I am looking forward to trying. From West Tampa Tobacco. I'm looking forward to. I got PCA. There we go. Kinking the cord, making the noise. I've got PCA coming up in April, and come on, oh, this damn cord. It's like making a little noise. There we go. I'm looking forward to that show because obviously, you've all heard my thoughts on TPE and how that went and whatever. But I'm looking forward to that. Not only just to see other manufacturers that I don't normally see at TPE, but also just to be able to hopefully try some of these other ones that I don't see in my general area too terribly frequently.
Right.
Like the Circle of Life. I know the Two Guys Cigars, had it on their website. They may still. I haven't. I'll admit I haven't looked, but you know, I would think they would. But there was that. There was another. There's another new one from EP Carrillo that just is coming out. It's like an orange band on that one, and there's all kinds of stuff that's being announced left and right. Gearing up and heading towards PCA. So I don't know. I'm hoping that I might see some new exciting stuff at PCA in April. So I did look.
So,
I did look to see. So the hotel that PCA is partnered with. Um, I looked to see about getting. I have a room already booked somewhere else, but I was like, man, maybe I ought to look and see if I can get a room at the actual hotel to see what that would cost. Damn, dude, that's not happening. Like the cost on that is going to be exponentially more and I'm already paying close to $1,100 for my hotel room. For the
really?
period for 5 nights.
Oh, okay. Five. Wow,
Yeah,
you're
I'm
doing the
going down.
whole show.
Yeah, I'm going down on Thursday, and I leave. I fly out like 7:30 Tuesday morning, so that I'm back in St. Louis like I think like quarter to 10. Cause see, that's the thing, man. That Tuesday, I leave New Orleans, come home, and immediately have to start laying out a newspaper. So
Yeah.
like, that day. So it's one of those things where I didn't really have the time to dawdle. I guess I could have, not done Monday. But I thought, it's like if I'm gonna go, let's go the whole time, you know. Um But yeah, yeah. So
I'm curious to see, going back to your TPE report, if they're a little more outgoing for PCA than they were at TPE, the ones that were at both.
yeah,
Because I've been to PCA, I've never been to TPE
yeah,
as a shop representative. And there were some shops that were like out there, hey, come here, try this. And there are others that just stared at you like, we don't need you to come here,
yeah,
but if you
yeah,
want to come here, I'll take a second and talk to you.
yeah.
Not
That
knowing that, hey, we maybe have 5 to 10 grand to throw at you. It's like
yeah, attract me in.
it's like I used to tell our bartenders and staff, you don't know who's walking in here. He may be in overalls and jeans or whatever, but he may own 2,000 acres and be looking for a new box buy facility. You know,
Precisely. Yeah,
um, don't judge. And you may have a guy walking there in a suit and tie, and he's gonna bitch about the price on your factory smokes.
yeah. No, that's a good point. And and I don't know. All I'm hearing, it's so weird. On one hand, you hear, oh, things are great. Things are great. You ask manufacturers, things are great. Things are great. You ask retailers, things are great. Things are great. You see these reports on Half Wheel and Cigar Aficionado talking about imports and all this and everything's fine. Everything's fine. That's the public. That's the public, narrative. But when you really start finding out what's really going on, it's like, nah, dude, some of these companies are hurting pretty bad. And big companies are
And
hurting pretty bad,
I would
you
like to get
know?
into something real quick that
Okay.
I've noticed down here.
Okay.
And for people who want to know, you can look it up. I'm in a town, basically just call it Warner Robins.
Okay.
Okay, if you look it up, it's a extremely large Air Force base town. So there's people here.
Yeah.
Properties booming like crazy. And as I mentioned earlier, we have people come over on weekends, we entertain. And they see me bring out certain cigars like oh, like some like the Villiger export,
Ah, there you go.
stuff like that. And they're like, I've never even heard of stuff like that. You know, it's not out there. They're losing out. I've given away like 4 or 5 boxes of these to people who are then going online and ordering them. You know, I'm doing
Yeah.
their job for them.
I mean, and that's obviously I'm sure everybody appreciates that, but I get what you're saying is that there needs to be a bit more. And the consumer is one thing. The consumer is one thing in that, like, the consumer, it is hard to advertise to the consumer,
And
it's
these are cigar smokers who
okay.
normally order online. And
Okay.
like I get all the magazines now because I've ordered from a handful of different, trying to get,
Oh yeah, you start getting the
yeah.
catalogs.
And these aren't being advertised in there. They
Yeah.
advertise their main lines, but it's like, you know, everybody's going to these types of cigars for a reason because people
Yeah.
are buying them. You know, there's
Well, and yeah, I don't know, man. It's an interesting situation. You've got manufacturers that need to find a way to promote themselves better to the retailers.
right.
You've got retailers, both online and brick and mortar, that need to do a better job of promoting product to the consumers. And then on the flip side, then you got consumers that I don't know how much of a problem we have on the consumer side in terms of telling each other about things that we like. I find that with cigar smokers, if we like something, we're going to tell other people, like, hey, have you smoked the West Tampa Tobacco Red, or have you smoked the Villiger Export, or something like that. And they're going to be like, no. And we're going to be like, well, you should give that a try. This is why I like it. I don't really, I haven't seen a problem on that front. I feel
Right.
like the breakdown is happening above the consumer level. I feel like
Right.
that's, especially if you go, here's a pro tip I'll give to, you know, any cigar manufacturer or retailer. Um, go on Reddit. Everybody talks about the different social media channels. They talk about Facebook, Instagram, whatever the fuck. Reddit. It's simple little message boards, but holy shit, you get so much information off of Reddit. And all Reddit is just individual people going on talking, having, maybe there's a general point, maybe there's a question, and then there's all the little sub comments underneath it. And my God, there's so much on there. And you learn, I only recently, probably within the last year, have been, getting onto Reddit more and more. But like you find out, I mean, every single thing under the sun you can think of is being talked about on Reddit somewhere, you know?
Well, and one thing I did, there's a liquor store we frequent, and he's got a couple of cabinets,
Yeah.
and I showed him the Villiger.
Okay.
And I'm like, listen, here's what you do with this. You buy a couple sleeves of these, they're not that expensive. If someone comes and buys a couple cigars, throw them one cigar out of that pack for free to try.
Yeah.
It's not going to cost you nothing.
Yep.
All right. Get them hooked. And then people are going to buy two or three to have a pack in their car, to have a pack, and
Especially
the guy,
since they don't need humidification.
right. And the guy was receptive. He's like, I've never heard of it. No, he's like, yeah, I'm going to, give that a try,
There you go.
Now it does help that I mentioned that I do contribute on a podcast, and people look it up and they're like, oh, this is a legit podcast. Maybe this guy knows what he's doing. And,
Yeah.
it's funny when people hear that, and then they start asking you all these questions about what I'm smoking and all this. And then the next time I see them, they're like, yeah, I grabbed some of those, and you're right. That, I grabbed it from this place, because I'm figuring out who's got what. Like we went
Yeah.
over before, it's like you got to scour to find different things, but
Yeah. Well, and in Villiger, to their, in all honesty, yeah, they've been around since 1888. They're huge over in like Europe and overseas and everything. But part of the reason Renee came, he and I hit it off, and we kind of struck up our sponsorship arrangement, is the fact that they're relatively new to the United States, and they need to grow the market, and people aren't as aware. So no, I think every little bit helps with that. But yeah, I mean, like, but part of that is when you're at the trade shows, and you have a captive audience of store ownership.
right.
Be exciting. Give these people something to be excited about, and do something that makes your booth the booth that everybody wants to visit and everybody's talking about when the show's over. Like, do something to where you become like, oh, you got to go by the Villiger booth, or you got to go by the blah, whoever booth. I mean, like,
Or, especially with PCA, you're going to have your reps from all over the country there.
yeah,
You need to be able to answer the question of, well, I had this before and it didn't really move. Well, I understand that. Here is what one of our best movers did to promote this product, and he's doing very well with it.
Yep.
Maybe there's something you didn't try, or it's just because I've had that conversation with people when I was out there. I was like, yeah, we tried this and it didn't really move. And they're like, well,
Dude,
okay. Well,
there is a brand that I'm not going to name, but I've had conversations with people from that company, and they have we'll just say a more affordable line. I don't want to say budget, or it's a budget line. They have a budget friendly line, and they have some of their stores just crushing it with that budget line.
mm-hmm.
But then they have other stores that are like, we can't move that for shit. And
Right.
it's like, what is the difference between these stores that are crushing it and the stores that won't move it? And what it boils down to is it's the employees and they're like their willingness to get behind the product and push it. I mean, that's one thing. You got to have employees that believe in this product. And the thing is, these budget cigars, yeah, they might be cheaper. So, maybe you're making less on each sale of one of those, but the volume is undeniable versus what the other place is doing with the higher dollar cigars.
Right.
And so, yeah, you might be selling higher dollar sticks, but you're selling fewer of them. And so ultimately, you're still losing out. And it's like, you got to be able to adapt and embrace it. And, right now, we're still, in tough economic times to where um, having a lower price option is a good thing. So, retailers need to look at and get on board with that. But again, I just feel like it's one of those things where you can't have malaise on any one level. And I feel like it's trickle down thing. I feel like with the retail or with the manufacturers, if the manufacturers are excited and enthusiastic and vibrant and like, yeah, we're gonna crush it, then I think that gets the retailer excited. If the retailer's excited, they're going to talk to the consumer about, this product. And once they're talking to the consumer about that product, that consumer is telling all of his friends, holy shit, I just tried this thing and it's really, really good. And next thing you know, you've got all these people that are asking for it. And that might be simplistic for me to say, but I've seen it happen. I've seen it happen.
Right. Well, and another thing I've seen too in my time in the business is it's cigar sales are not really number of stick driven by the customer usually. The guy doesn't come in, I'm only just looking for one cigar. They come in with a price point, and I've found it's usually around $50.
Yeah.
They're going to spend $50 every time they come in. Now, are they coming out of there with 10 sticks or are they coming out of there with 3 or 4? But you're still going to get the profit margin off that $50 of sale.
Yeah.
So that's the way you've got to look at this is, okay, we didn't sell a lot of discount sticks. We mostly kept them bundled.
Yeah.
Uh, but
We
there's no problem with having one or two, $5 or $6, maybe $4 stick, to where, okay, that guy's going to come and spend his $50 every week. It's just, he's going to walk out of there with a lot more sticks than the other guy.
Mm-hmm. Yeah,
And you're
you don't
still
want to any shop that's opening up and putting on display like, a dozen different budget cigars. It's like,
you can't take the space up for that,
yeah, yeah. I
Uh,
mean, at some point you're shooting yourself in the foot. You got to have maybe a couple because let's be real, you don't want to like drive a guy out of the lounge just because he can only afford a $5 cigar that day.
right.
He wants to sit and chat with everybody in the lounge just as much as everybody else does, but he can't afford that $10 cigar. So you got to have something available for him. But on the flip side, don't have like a full cabinet full of them,
Right.
that you're put that's yeah,
Especially if you have a lounge, because you don't want to fill up your lounge with people that,
are just sitting around smoking $5 cigars.
right, all day
Yeah,
long.
yeah. Yeah, I don't know. So I'll be curious to see, what the energy at PCA is like. Um, I do hope it's a little more enthusiastic than what I saw at TP. But then again, here's the other thing though. The environment breeds energy. And so, TPE, yeah, it was a vibrant energy on the blue carpet, not so much on the red carpet, but on the red carpet, there were significantly fewer or buyers. There were way fewer retailers coming out to do their shopping,
Plus,
versus
when you don't have primaries there,
yeah,
the salespeople aren't scared to not have the booth full.
yeah, yeah. so they're sitting around and just
Yeah.
doing their thing. Yeah,
When a primary's there, they want people all around. So hey, look at us, look at us. Yeah,
yeah,
boss, I'm
yeah.
I'm doing my job right. Uh,
No,
I
that's a
think that I
valid
think
point.
that'll help a lot because
Hmm.
primaries will not miss PCA if at all possible.
Nah, they're not going to miss that. Um, yeah, that's a really valid point. There's a little bit of job security that goes into having people coming into the booth looking for X rep versus a TPE. It's kind of like, I made my phone calls. I'm good.
Someone from the East Coast bought from a West Coast rep. It doesn't matter.
Exactly. So, hmm. Well, I don't know. I'll be curious to see how it goes. But
I will too.
hmm. Anyway, what else can we do? Uh, you know?
Well, I'm trying to in my head figure out what we've redone, and it's like,
Yeah.
did we miss something that we did before? But
Oh,
I think we've
no.
covered
We
everything.
skipped over a lot of our like intricate commercial banter and our football back and forth. But
Right.
yeah, I think
That
we've
might have
kind
gotten
of
that might have been a little stale anyway to some people, looking back. It's like,
truthfully, we might have, yeah, saved ourselves, made this a little bit more interesting. But um, I don't know. The Villiger segment kind of got cut a little bit there with you having to go get your cord. Was there anything else that you've been watching that you wanted to highlight? We
um,
talked about the Penguin,
yeah, Penguin, ISS.
ISS.
I haven't started really any other new shows lately. I didn't realize that I had Paramount Plus here at
Oh,
the house till today. So
well,
I'll
that's
be
nice.
looking in. I'm probably going to get back into Tulsa King because I only watched like
Okay,
the first two episodes of the first season. I'll
yeah.
probably I'll probably power through that over the next week or so and
I still
get into
need to
the
watch
second.
that second season. Yeah.
But yeah, there's a lot of stuff on Paramount Plus that I'm looking to watch. And I don't know if I haven't really explored much on Max just because it's been kind of actually, it's been so nice out. I've been sitting out here listening to music and smoking,
There you
more
go.
than watching.
Hey, you know what? I get that, man. It's one of those things that I've been busy, and I just, like I said, like I was saying earlier, I just, brain power wise, it's like when I'm laying in bed at night and I'm kind of decompressing and kind of getting ready to go to sleep, I just throw Top Gear on TV because, like I said, it's something mindless and something that I can, if I do start dozing off and I wake up, I can just turn it off, and I don't care if I've missed a segment or something like that. It's like I just turn it off and move on. So,
Yeah, I do the
no,
same. I do the same because we've got
yeah.
Direct TV, so I'll just find one of the channels doing like 20 episodes of The Big Bang Theory or something and just like
You were
crash to
giving me
that.
shit about watching Golden Girls. It's like, dude, what's wrong with the Golden Girls? It's like the same thing. It's like I just turn it on and I just start dozing off. It's no big thing.
Although I am looking forward the new season of Dark Side of the Ring comes out in March or the
Oh,
end of
really?
February. Yeah. I did not see they flashed the list of what the episodes were, but it was really quick and
Okay.
I wasn't paying attention, so
I
that'll
do
be
like that
interesting.
show. I'll have to check out. I want to know, has the most recent season hit Hulu yet? I don't
I
know if
don't
it
know.
has or not. I don't know.
Oh,
I need
and
to.
they did do a short season of Dark Side of the Cage, which with UFC stuff. I
Oh,
did
really?
watch the first one was Kimbo Slice. That was a really good episode,
Okay.
detailing his life and everything.
Okay. Well, that's cool. I like that show. And even if you're not like a big wrestling fan, or maybe you don't know a whole lot, I mean, they're compelling stories,
Right.
you
Oh
know.
yeah. Oh yeah.
I mean, yeah.
This is this is worse than any Dateline or anything like that you've ever watched.
I wish they would put out that Tales of the Territories
Oh
I
yeah, because that is a really good series.
dude, I only saw the first episode is on YouTube, and I watched the first episode there. But other than that, none of the other episodes from that show are available unless you have like the super mega expensive Hulu package or whatever. And I'm like, I'm sorry, I'm not paying like $90 or whatever it is for the like mega Hulu package.
Yeah,
So,
yeah.
um,
Eventually, it's got to because
I would think. Well,
you would just
you gotta get eyeballs on that content. You paid money to make that content. You would think you'd want people to see it, but
and
I don't know.
they tend to trickle down. It's like the old days when a movie would hit the theaters and then it would be like 6 months before it hit VHS. And it's
Yeah,
like then it would be 2 to 5 years before it hit cable TV.
at some
You
point it's
know,
gonna start showing up on TV. Yeah, I get it. Yeah, there was that, and I don't know. I still think that I watched the first season of Ted Lasso, and it's one of those things that I'm slow walking that one. I want to watch. There's still two more seasons, and I want to watch. Yeah, obviously out there, and I want to watch them. But it's also one of those things that I really, really enjoyed that show, and so I don't want to just like sit and just burn through it in like 3 days. It's like I want to stretch that out a little bit because
right?
I don't know if I'm gonna see a fourth season. I don't know if there's gonna be one or whatever. So it's like, I'd kind of like to, slow walk that a little bit. But yeah, I did enjoy that. So anyway,
Oh, I do have some cigars I've smoked recently. If we want to
oh yeah, we
get
could
into
do
that
that. I
segment,
don't have the button, queued up, but yeah, if you want to do that. So what have you been
because
smoking? What have you been smoking lately?
well, like I told you before, smoked my first Charter Oak.
Oh, really?
That's a lesser expensive stick I got from two guys.
Yeah, but I didn't
I
realize that was your
really,
first one.
yeah, I really enjoyed that. Yeah,
Which one did you do?
uh,
It's the Connecticut, the Habano, or the Maduro.
Habano.
Okay, okay. I like the Habano one. Yeah,
Yeah, I did the. Usually, if those are like my choices, I'll usually start with the Habano.
yeah.
If I like that, I'll go to the Maduro also.
Okay, okay. No, that Habano. I just, oh God, relatively recently smoked the last one from the box that I had bought when I was up there in September. Um, but that one, that's one that I'll drive and smoke that one. I mean, like
Right.
that's a good just utility cigar, man. It's
Yeah.
like it's a good cigar. The only thing I wish is that it didn't have that closed off foot because every once in a while you get those little when you're lighting it, you get those little
A
shards
little.
of wrapper.
Yeah.
But otherwise, no, that's a really good cigar that typically it hits the spot, man.
I also smoked McAuliffe Black
Okay.
Toro.
I'm still working on the box that I bought it, but two guys actually on that one too. So
Yeah.
yeah.
And then my West Tampa Red today. So that's three.
Okay.
The others have just been uh stuff I always smoke. Go tos.
Yeah.
Uh,
I
because you
don't know.
can't smoke great stuff all the time. You'll go broke.
No kidding. No kidding. I've been burning through a lot of my kind of standard go-tos here lately as well.
And
Mostly
I have been keeping up with my journal, so I've got every cigar
hey,
since January 1st written down.
fantastic. Look at you. That's good. I like that. I got to remember to add that West Tampa Tobacco Red that we just smoked to mine, but otherwise I'm caught up as well. I'll tell you what, it's going to be real interesting at the end of the year when you sit down and like really, look through the data and everything. I think, you're going to
Yeah,
you're going to see some things that you didn't quite realize was happening and I found it to be really fascinating to do.
my trick is I keep the journal on my humidor, So when I pull the cigar, I write it down.
Ah, there you go. There you
It
go.
just makes it a lot easier for me.
See, I wish I had a better like thing on my phone other than what I'm doing. I just have a running note on my phone, and I just type it in. It'd be so much better and easier if there was like an app where I could scan it and track it and everything like that. And I know they used to have,
They
you
played
know,
with them,
in the
for a while,
past, yeah.
but they just couldn't keep up with everything coming out.
I was gonna say product was being added and it was not being updated. And then also Apple and Google um stopped allowing them to do updates because it was promoting the use of tobacco and all this kind of crap. So I will say that is one thing, not to get like into the legalities of all this kind of or the legal side and everything, because I know some people get bored with that. But man, the even though the federal government kind of like gave cigars a little bit of a pass here recently in the last month or two, kind of saying that they're not pursuing flavor bans and they're not really going after cigars and all this kind of shit now. And I'm totally summarizing that. Like that is,
Yeah.
yeah, like that is the very short way of describing it. Man, everybody needs to be paying attention to their states. Here in Illinois, just this week, they announced that they want to raise the tobacco tax, and it would impact cigars. And the shop that I've been going to, kind of near my house, they put out an email, linking to the PCA, saying, "Hey, this is happening. Click here, and it'll email your senators and representatives telling them you oppose this." And so I did that, and everything. But Illinois is looking at a tobacco tax. I just read that New York is looking at putting in their own flavor ban, even though the feds, got rid of theirs. There's stuff happening all over the place in all these states that we still need to be keeping track of. So don't sit back and think, oh, the feds are laying off cigars. I mean, the
Both
states are
both
still coming at them.
both good and bad though. I've been reading some of the half wheels where a couple of
Oh
states
yeah,
are looking to add cigar smoking in lounges,
Kentucky, yeah,
yeah, it's like good that,
yeah,
there's no
yeah,
reason a cigar lounge should not allow smoking. You
precisely.
know, a
And
kid doesn't walk into a cigar lounge thinking it's a candy store.
no, and if you live in Kentucky or if you live in one of these states where good things are happening, reach out to your representatives and your senators and tell them, hey, assuming they're voting for it, tell them,
Right.
hey, thank you for this. Like, that's the thing, having worked in government before, these guys, they don't get praise for things that they do that you support. They get shit for when they do things that you don't like. And so, saying thank you goes a long way. I mean,
Hmm.
it helps a lot. So, yeah, if your representative or senator is either pushing something that's positive for cigars or they take a vote that's positive for cigars, you know, just like we're telling you to email them and tell them, hey, oppose this law, reach out to them and tell them, hey, thanks for sticking with us. We appreciate it because, yeah, like I said, a thank you goes a long way.
Oh yeah.
But anyway, well, Mike, final thoughts on your West Tampa Tobacco Red? I enjoyed
I
mine.
I really enjoyed mine. Can't wait to get some more in. I got one more left. I bought a couple. Still got one left. But yeah, I can't wait to try some more.
There you go. And I guess real quick while I have you, I will say that social wise, I'm available on Instagram at the Cigar Pulpit. I'm on Facebook where we have the Pulpit Parishioners group, Twitter/X. I am on Rumble where you can watch us there. It's like a YouTube, so go over there and sign up and subscribe to the Cigar Pulpit. I am on YouTube as well. You can watch on there until they decide that they don't want me anymore. And then Spotify video. You can watch us on Spotify if you are a Spotify user. And then I do need your calls for the Ask the Pulpit hotline. Give us a call. Area code 863-874-0000. And Mike, for people that want to follow you.
You can reach me through the Cigar Pulpit Parishioners site. I do post on there to the public.
Yeah.
And if you want to track me down on Facebook, you can too. I've friended a number of guys from the Parishioners group who wanted to follow me personally.
There you go. Well, there we go. Well, dude, thanks for taking like so much extra time out of your day. I did not intend to do 2 shows with you today, much less only one that I can actually use. So,
well, from now on, I will try to remember to say, "Are we recording?"
Great. Yeah, this is one of those things where it's like you just once you do it once with somebody, you never live it down, you know.
Just wait till you hear from Mr. Jonathan or someone about this episode.
No, I know.
Or Trey Mack. Oh, good Lord, Trey Mack. Can you imagine if you would have done that with him after about 3 hours of talking about the moon?
You have no idea just how upset I would be if he and I would have had one of our 3-hour marathon conversations just to look down at the board and see that it's not recording and that I didn't hit record on Zoom. That would be just a nightmare. Yeah. God. Anyway. Well, dude, thank you so much.
Thank you for having me.
Talk to you.
All right.
And I really, really want to thank Mike for taking time out of his night to do this. I mean, you know, guys, like I said, we did damn near an hour of show and had to do it all over again. So I do want to thank him for taking time out because he took way more time out than either one of us had planned. So anyway, I did the socials with him. I did all the other stuff. But what I didn't do is it's Fun Fact Friday with Pinky.
Hey, it's your girl Pinky. Ready for a fun fact? Besides an American flag, astronauts left 4 bags of human feces on the moon after their landing. This has been Pinky, and I'll be back next time with more fun facts.
Now, I'm sure Trey Mack has thoughts about that because, according to Trey Mack, we maybe didn't even go to the moon. So how could we have left 4 bags of human feces on the moon if we didn't even go? It's a question for the ages. But I guess that makes sense because, I mean, they would have had to go. I mean, you don't lose the urge to go just because you're up in space. I mean, you're going to have to go. So, I mean, at some point you got to go. I will say I go significantly less when I travel. It's one of those things. Here at home, very regular. But when I travel, it's significantly less frequently. So maybe if I were to go up in space, maybe it might be a day or 2 before I have to, get the urge. I don't know. That's an interesting thought, but I'm sure at some point it was bound to happen. And I mean, I guess it makes sense that they would just be like, well, I guess we're just going to leave the bags behind. Anyway, well, like I said earlier, all the socials, you heard all that. Give me a call on the hotline, area code 863-874-0000. I could definitely use more calls. Doesn't hurt. And otherwise, I guess that's this. So, guys, I made it. We got through it. My God, we got through it. So this has been another sermon from the Cigar Pulpit. I'm Nick. Stay safe and stay smoky. Later, guys.